The question is, has Ethereum broken out? Well, welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. Thought we changed it up a little bit this early morning over here from, once again, a frigid Helsinki, Finland, negative 10 degrees Celsius and counting, and I wouldn't be surprised if it gets down to like negative 20 by end of day, because that's just what it feels like right now. Absolutely face melting in a backward sense. It's like inverted face melt with just like getting frozen as soon as you step outside. Anyways, with that said, plenty to talk about today. Not necessarily with Bitcoin, although I will follow up on Bitcoin, of course, but I did want to give the spotlight to Mr. Buteral today, as we colloquially call him, or Mr. Ethereum, as you may know him or her. We don't exactly know what gender this one might be, but there is plenty of things to talk about right now, as Ethereum kind of representing the greater altcoin market in the whole. I kind of look at it as like an altcoin index, looking very, very interesting right now, and a lot of people getting rather excited for a potential breakout, or perhaps a lot of people even considering this already a breakout. So we'll do a bit more of a deep dive into Ethereum today, as Bitcoin's been more or less just ranging, as we spoke about yesterday, although we haven't really seen the downside hit of the downside range. But, you know, range at the end of the day is the name of the game for right now, as U.S. markets get ready for another day, or actually the first day of the week of trading a little bit later. So I do imagine that there will be a little bit of activity leading up to then, and then probably around open we do see some very interesting moves. With that in mind, let's go check out the Bitcoin dominance coming down another full percent. So it looks like we were right, right to switch our opinions over the weekend from being majorly bearish on most altcoin Bitcoin pairings. Now it looks like Ethereum representing the whole is, well, I'll spoil the surprise, looking pretty damn good, and that would drive the greater market, I imagine, to some more glorious moves, if you will. Also, open interest kind of just oscillating to and fro from the low 5 billion marker, now hanging out about 5.5 billion. Technically, yes, Bitcoin did have a slight gain on yesterday, but more or less what are we seeing? What this is kind of aligning with is consolidation. Yes, we know that. Can we make a greater interpretation on top of that? Is it, whether it be reaccumulation or distribution? Well, within the current context of the structure, still it would align with reaccumulation, as we do still have uptrends of just about everything. And if we go look at our accumulation distribution indicator, well, spoiled surprise there, looks okay there too. And what else do we see? We see the fear ingredient X popping up 1 point from a 79 to an 80. Raspy lesbian voices getting ready. I can feel it coming on because it's cold as hell here. And whenever I wake up, like, I don't believe in using heaters. So I'm like an environmentalist. No, I'm not. But I fucking hate them, because once you get too hot, you can't get cold again, And man, when I wake up sometimes, my voice is just like, Jesus. All right, well, whatever. It's good to go now. All right, what do we see over here? Global funding rate creeping up once again. Do we see anything in minutia? Yes, we do. FTX 0.19%, big. Binance 0.18%, big. BitMEX 0.09%. So we don't necessarily see three above there, but the ones that are up there are like way the fuck over there. FTX is consistently an outlier now. And yes, this has certainly gotten higher in the past. We saw it above 0.3%. I believe it was a week ago when Bitcoin put in the high at around $41,000. So with that in mind, is it a warning signal? Yes. Is it actionable in and of itself right now? No, but it's getting close. If we see this for another 36 to 48 hours, I would say so, yes. But for now, it's consideration. Want to see it consistent for a little bit more time, as a lot of the time we do see a spike and then a quick recede from that. Anyways, into the price action charts we go. Is there anything else that I want to say before we get there? Yes, I want to wish you the happiest and the best of the best. I want to wish you a nice and healthy day. What else do I want to say? I'm trying to get all the well wishes out right now, because it's important, man. It's free to do, and it can only help, I imagine. But is there anything else? I'll probably be on Twitch later today. Is there anything else? Discord, blah, 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 blah. You know it. It's in the description below. All right, cool. Let's get into it. All right, here we go. So Mr. Buteral on the secondary charts right here. This is your weekly. And once again, the weekly did close above the top side Toronto band. Been doing this ever since when? Ever since early November of last year, the year 2020. And crawling its way up to, upwards and onwards for a pretty massive move here thus far. Yeah, almost a 171 and a 69% move. Very, very nice. More importantly, last week, we have a lot to say about this. So first and foremost, what I noticed is the rise in wicks on this, riding the 9x benchmark average. That is a really, 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 really aggressive trend right there. and a really good sign that we do close back above the topside trailing band, and I'm referencing last week's delta right here. And as you can see, there's a massive wick to the downside, showing that there was a lot of buying pressure bringing it back up. And this is all coming in on increasing volume on the whole, which we can compare with our prior breakout point, which is coming in right around here. This would be akin to like the $19,000 region on Bitcoin, and we're getting very similar behavior to what we saw around 19,000 bucks on Bitcoin. Actually, if you recall back on over here, you saw, sorry, it's this area right here that I'm referencing, by the way. You saw a bunch of wicks to the downside. Sell-offs were trying to get going, but at the end of the day, they would get bought back on up above the Trailing band, and boom, there's your massive melt up. And this was your real move, right? This was your 100%. Sorry, this was your 100% above new all-time highs. Of course, if we were to look at it and make a kind of a similarity between what Bitcoin saw leading up to that and what Ethereum saw, on this one we saw about a 52.5, or about a 52% move. So Ethereum actually pound for pound is moving more aggressively here underneath the prior all-time highs. So that actually would suggest that if and when it does break out, we very likely are going to see it outpace some other, Bitcoin in this case, which would mean that it's going to gain versus its Satoshi pairing. Now, of course, we also want to reference the Ethereum Bitcoin pairing over here, and just spoiling the surprise as well, we did identify that last week if we did close back above 3,200,000 Satoshis, that would look pretty damn good. I do recall that there's also a golden cross on the daily as well, and now it is retesting the prior weekly high. So it's actually going to have a chance to reverse itself on a weekly here. Actually, technically, it pretty much already has with that last week's closure. So I would say that this is, probably does put a small pullback right here, but fair enough. Next major target is going to be right below 400, sorry, not 400, but 4 million Satoshis, that is. Anyways, back onto the actual USD charts, because, well, I imagine most people live their lives in USD, and it's just a lot more easier to understand. This is looking pretty damn good for a continuation overall. So what I said that the breakout is real, technically it's not just yet on the lower term timeframes if you're just going off structure, but looking at the weekly right here, it's very likely to give an actual try sometime this week, probably even today if I had to guess, as we do see momentum oscillators right now looking like they want to turn back up. Daily MACD getting the bullish cross, more importantly, as it reapproaches the prior all-time high. So a lot of the time people use the MACD in a very lazy and I would say not useful or not real way at all. And it's basically just like, oh, we crossed to the upside bullish, we crossed to the downside bearish. I actually made a video on this on YouTube. It's there for you to see. Also, Caretaker made a nice indicator for it as well. It's called the reverse MACD, which was referenced in that video. I definitely think that it's I definitely say that it's relevant to check out, especially if you're not like aware of the actual way and how to use it. But more importantly, again, the bullish cross right here as we do approach the prior all-time high, this is going to very likely lead into a picture perfect setup. Carry that on over with the DMI ADX right here. We see that the DMI plus is dominant, ADX is starting to strengthen as well, all above the threshold. This is a very good setup, is what I'm trying to say. And this is the kind of setup that you expect to see leading into a breakout to likely new all-time highs on the daily. Your next sort of short-term pivot to the upside would be 1460, 1450 region, of which I would be looking for a short-term pullback based upon that region. But overall, this one looks like it very much wants to carry on the rally and go into melt-on mode, similar to how Bitcoin did above its prior all-time high. So I'd actually put a lot of weight on Mr. Beetle right here, because yes, it does seem to play really, really well with the greater altcoin market. And with this happening, is it relevant to say that altcoin season is potentially coming back? Yeah, I do think so, actually, as this is what you'd want to see essentially, while Bitcoin is doing not necessarily the opposite, but it's in a consolidation right now. So this is the exact sort of scenario that you want to see in a general, general rotational market, but more importantly, in the context of cryptocurrency land, when people are kind of, obsessed with altcoins and whatnot, these are the times to play alts, essentially. And what do I mean by that? Well, when Bitcoin's going sideways, essentially, at a weekly range right here, which is still more or less fine. Don't get me wrong, I'm not bearish on Bitcoin, but what I am on Bitcoin is I'm bullish on Bitcoin. It's, it's sideways here. Yes, I do still go with a bias towards an overall upside resolution. I mean, this is, this chart's completely fine right here, but compare that with some like, Mr. Buterin is doing, and that is a clear, that is a clearly just completely different mode of operation right now. So I look at that as a damn good indication that most alts, depending upon their strength, are going to get their chance to rally now and, probably do it big. So fair enough. I actually want to check out Mr. Beetle versus Bitcoin one more time right here. Yeah, looking pretty damn good. And yes, the daily golden cross is getting some play. So You only get one of those every, once every year or two. So fair enough. Fair enough. Anyways, okay, let's go back on to Bitcoin. Do we have anything to add on to Bitcoin that we didn't really get a chance to say yesterday? So we were looking at the ADX DMI yesterday, and we have no signal here on that next tick. And I'm talking about the neither the DMI plus or the DMI minus is dominant, and the ADX is not strengthening. They're both gonna have another chance tonight to confirm that. Obviously, if we see the DMI plus get dominant plus the ADX strengthen, I'd say that that's a pretty damn good signal as well. But a little bit of sideways here on the lows probably does benefit the bulls a little bit more than the bears, of course, just due to the prior conditions. DMI minus getting dominant would obviously indicate, well, at the very least, Bitcoin's going to come back down and test around $30,000 low, and at that point, we'll have a chance to actually put in a downtrend, aka lower lows and lower highs. Yes, with any sort of a closure below $30,000 or even $32,000, this will reverse. However, am I really looking for that? No, I'm not. I think that the MACD really tells a story right here. We're getting a bullish reset is what it looks like to me, as this comes all the way down. Negative in a histogram like this is like pretty damn aggressive, by the way. It's a lot more aggressive than what we saw in the pullback in early December when Bitcoin was below $20,000, hovering around $18,000, and significantly bigger than what we saw in August on this whole area right here too. But as you can see, with Bitcoin just even still holding its higher lows within the structure while printing a very, 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 very heavy histogram right there, it does align with more or less a healthy consolidation. Anyways, do we see anything on the 12-hour to be aware of? Again, same shit here as well. I'd like to say there, I don't see any divergences here. Don't see any signals on ADX DMI, but still looks, more or less fine. What do we see on the 2-day? Same shit, basically. What do we see on the 3-day? I think we did just get another 3-day closure. Yes, indeed we did. And so this is a fresh 3-day dildo right here, young in its little dildo life. And what do we see? Yeah, we do see that it's riding the non-exponential moving average still. So, do I think that we'll have another move back down and test around $34,000? Yeah, I think that that's rather likely, but I'd also be looking for a bounce there as well. So the range is still more or less the same shit as what we were looking at over the past 2 days, $34,000 to about $37,000 on closures. And until we get something like that, it is just kind of boring, I suppose. Also, MACD histogram on 3-day, I think, tells a story as well. You do see a very similar read to what we saw back and over here on the consolidation below $20,000, where the MACD histogram did start to back off a bit and, rode the time exponential moving average the whole way through. However, once it started increasing once again, that's your actual breakout. So again, I look at this as a bullish reset, and we have somewhat of a similar setup over here on the ADX DMI, although I want to see the ADX actually get strong. So right now it's obviously not. Anyways, into the regular charts we go. Do we want to do more on butyrol here? Yeah, actually I do, because I do want to show this one more time. Daily was the key last week. The daily golden cross right here, the green 55 and the purple 200 exponential moving average. And the golden cross tested once, tested twice. As long as there's no lower lows on that, which, I mean, it was very clearly higher lows right there. That's getting played. Now it's above all major moving averages, all curved to the upside, looking pretty damn good. And I believe, our target coming in from last week was 3.3 million. And then we extended it yesterday to the prior high right here at 3.69 million. Looks like we just hit that in the early morning hours. Probably does back off a little bit more, maybe plays back down to 3.5 million. However, I would ultimately be looking for this one to give a legitimate leg up, probably towards the 200 simple right here, which is going to be in the 4 million plus territory. And then this, starts to look a lot better on the whole. I'm curious what the monthly looks like as well. Yeah, the monthly is a reversal. And if the monthly closes anywhere above 3.7 million, I'm not just going to be targeting move towards 4 million Satoshis. Not that I trade this one to begin with, but realistically, this thing's going to pop up significantly. 6 million Satoshis would not be out of the question. And realistically, 7.6 million would be where I'd be looking for on the next major move. Call that as you will, but we do have a higher low now here in progress, and taking out this prior high would be phenomenal. I mean, we haven't seen a monthly uptrend since 2016, 2017 actually, so it's been a very long time, and that means that it's likely to be very, 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 very powerful with all of that waiting. Anyways, do we want to do more on my regular charts with Mr. Butyrol right here? Just looking at my regular charts. I mean, everything that I look at right here does look good. Hidden bullish divergence playing out, although that was signaled way the fuck back on over here in January 12th at about 10.50, now trading 13.25. More importantly, daily Stokes crossing back up again, and will remain to the upside as long as we're above 1250. And if we are going off structure right here, and you are looking for the next potential, real breakout, the way that I'd be looking at it like this would just be taking your prior high, cutting it right there, and what do you know? If we do close above there, now you have new closing highs on this rally, and actually maybe even new daily closing all-time highs. Let's nope, that can't be true because we have this guy right here at about 1350, 1360. But ultimately, I would be using the fibs right here, the fib extensions, to kind of drive the next set of targets. The one spot 272 would be the next area that I'd be want to be aware of. Remember, that's actually directly in line with what we saw in the daily topside Toronto band, which would be a natural short-term pullback region at about 1450-ish region. So I would be looking for a reach there, and probably for Mr. Buteau, if assuming that all those conditions were met priorly, for it to play between 1450 and about 1500 for a little bit of time, and then we can talk about further and deeper moves. For right now, though, just kind of trudging its way along, I'd like to see a daily close on new highs. That would be again at 1280. Yeah, 1280 today. And then we can talk about those next set of targets. But for right now, all looks pretty much well and good, especially as Bitcoin is, kind of just holding a range here. And what does that look like? I mean, it looks to me like Bitcoin probably does put another move back down somewhere around the 21 exponential moving average, which is $35,000. So, I basically have the same thing to say today as I did yesterday on Bitcoin on the short-term timeframes. It's a little bit of a range right here. Ultimately, I am bullish on this range, yes, but do I think that we come back down and test the low side of the range? I think it's still rather likely. I don't have a strong proclivity towards it, similar to yesterday. But if I had to call it, you put a gun to my head, I'd say probably does. Probably does, just to wipe a few more people out of this market. But at the end of the day, structure is pretty obvious here. We can actually just get rid of this one because, well, while it is relevant, I don't think it's as relevant as other things right now. Obviously, your last lower high in the 4 hours is going to be right around here at about 17,700, or not 17, 37,700. Sorry for my early morning dyslexia. Let's actually throw in the volume profile for this one and see where we're coming in around. Yeah, it would be right around here, so that's good. And above there, I'd be looking for an extension towards about $40,000 again. By contrast, looking at this area right here, 34,500. I'd be looking for, if we do see a break below that region, that's where I start to look towards about $33,000. But ultimately, or actually, let's go back to my BitMexican chart over here. Yeah, here we go. That looks a little bit better to my eye, and actually the point of control coming in right here, which would make more sense based off structure. I look at this area right here as a more likely to accumulate wicks. So it depends which one you're going off of. Closures would be this area, wicks would be this area right here. Ultimately, though, same sort of analysis right here. Anyway, so let's go through the lower term timeframes as they are, and let's see what we got. So 4-hour Stokes are popping back up and will remain to the upside as long as we're above 36,100, which means that, well, we have about a $500 buffer zone right now, and as long as that condition is met, well, I guess perhaps maybe I shouldn't be looking for that short-term move to the downside. Let's see what the 3-hour says as well. Let's see if they're in concert today, and they are thus far, as long as this next 3-hour close above 36,800. So keep these numbers in mind, because as long as these conditions are met, I suppose I could be short-term bullish still. Although I do, if you put a gun in my head, I do think that Bitcoin comes back down, swipes somewhere around $35,000. Probably gets picked up there again, to be fair. I would be looking at that as an opportunity. Of course, it's not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but this is very hard to hate right here. Again, referencing our open interest read and kind of putting it into context with the actual price action. This is very obviously reaccumulation, as open interest does come down from 6.5 billion to 5 billion from here at above $41,000 to all the way down here to about $30,000 low. And then as Bitcoin kind of oscillates to and fro off the bottom side of this range, we do see open interest essentially pop up, usually with price action. So people are accumulating on these drives. Just taking its time really is the way that I look at it. And again, historical volatility percentile, as we did identify yesterday on both the 3-hour and the 4-hour, now contracting very, very aggressively. And I would be looking for a very likely move to the top side or the bottom side of the range, probably the top side of the range in this case, if we're going to be using a 4-hour. Sometime around the, somewhere around the time that you do see 4-hour HVP get down into like the low teens, maybe even single digits as well. And then I want to be kind of keeping my eyes on Bitcoin. But until that happens, it looks to me like it's going to be more of a spotlight on altcoins. So fair enough. Congratulations to the altcoin holders. Moving on to, do we have anything to say about the 3-hour RSI? Not really giving me too much. Neutral-ish. Same thing with 4 hour. 4 hours neutral, but slightly tinted towards the upside. 3 hours just more neutral in general. Bi hourly, what do we see right here? Literally the same read on the bi hourly RSI. Bi-hourly Stokes, however, will remain to the upside as long as above 35,900. Jesus Christ, man, I really can't read numbers right now. This is insane. Sorry, I do apologize. It must be really annoying. Bi-hourly Jewel, more in a bullish posturing, but that's not like a signal. What about the 4 hour? Not giving no signal at all within that region right there. What about the hourly right here? Not really giving us anything on Jewel, not really giving us anything on RSI. What about Stokes? Stokes will cross the downside with any sort of a closure below 36,650. So again, I wouldn't put too much weight on any one of these without context of the greater whole. You know, Bitcoin wants to come back down to 35,000 bucks. That would not really do anything for, for the actual structure. So again, I would still be defensive against a little move like that. It seems to me right now, though, that if you are going to be playing this game, you're either playing Bitcoin with options or you're playing altcoins right now, because Bitcoin on, just trading straight up stock is going to be pretty lackluster. I think there's more opportunities elsewhere right now, actually. Moving on to the 12 hour, what do we see right here? We do see 12 hour Stokes are actually angled to the downside right now. They will cross back onto the upside with any sort of a closure above 36,700. So again, you're probably noticing that all of the lower term timeframes and now the medium term timeframes starting to line up with each other around that basically middle of $36,000 region, 36,500. If we start to see some major closures above there, yeah, probably look for another move back on to 39 or 40,000 bucks. By contrast, on the other side, I'd probably be looking for another test back down somewhere around 34 to 35,000 bucks, and bounces implied, around those regions. 12-hour RSI. Do we see anything of note here? Do we actually have potential hidden bullish divergence in play here? Hold on, let me zero this one in. Okay, our read right there is 48.78. Okay, and we got 48.82 right here. So no, we do not. Or actually, yes, we do, but that's such a small differential there. I don't think it matters, to be honest with you. Looking at GDEX, do we have anything different? It literally not 0.1. Sorry, not 0.01 actually difference right there. That's not really enough. However, CMEs have a significantly lower low there on 12-hour RSI, and potentially a pretty decent higher low right here going on actual price action. So how do we confirm a higher low right here? I'd say any sort of a closure above the 10 simple would very likely do it. Just anywhere above about 36,650 on a closure would do it for me. And then yes, I'd be looking for a move back up towards about 40,000 bucks on CMEs, and then correlate that with spot price action. So that looks a lot more obvious. And once again, CME chart just easier to read. I think that most people could look at this right here and just be like, yep, pretty damn obvious and all good. Anyways, I'm just curious if there's any differentials that we see between spot and CME. Actually, yes, significant right here. 4-hour Stokes popping back onto the upside with any sort of a closure above 35,430. That would make me certainly lean more towards the immediate bullish side here. 3-hour, what do we see? 35,900 is the magical number, so about a $700 buffer zone from where we're at right now. 3-hour RSI looking a lot more healthy than spot price action as well. And by hourly, what do we see right here? We'll cross the downside below 36,300. Not really getting much from the by hourly RSI, and then hourly right here. Hourly right, it looks very obviously downside angled in the short term. Yes, will cross the downside below 37,000 bucks. So we do see a bit of bifurcation between the very short term timeframes, and that would likely align with another try to the downside, probably gets picked up, and then I'd look for the range to hold and likely give a try to the top side of the range later this week. I don't think we're going to see much from Bitcoin today outside of the context of like the current medium term time frame range. Short term time frames, yes, absolutely. But well, to be fair, short term time frames, they have multi-$1,000 ranges right now, so very tradable. To be fair, very tradable actually. $1,000 move is always a $1,000 move, but short-term timeframes look a lot more angled towards the downside, whereas like the 3 and 4 hour look more, look more sideways and slightly up. Anyways, do we have anything on the 12-hour right here? Yeah, curling down as well. Fair enough. But I'm more or less concerned about this printing a higher low. If this prints a higher low, $40,000 will be the target, and even higher than that over time. But as it is right now, I mean, it's still looking a lot like reaccumulation right there. What about daily? Do we have a similar read going on over here? Yeah, we do actually. So this would be the next biggest thing that I want to be aware of. That could potentially be confirmed as early as today's closure on CME. So that's going to be 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. And that is going to be if we confirm a higher low right here. If that happens, which I just want to see a closure above the 10 simple, which is 37,150, we'll say, then yes, it will be. That'll also initiate hidden bullish divergence, confirming this as a local low right here. So we have lower lows on the RSI, higher lows in price action. And again, target on this one would be about $41,000. I also got a very interesting comment yesterday, and I actually get this comment somewhat frequently, and I suppose I should just explain really quickly right here, depending on if people actually happen to give a fuck. But a lot of people, for some reason, have this notion in their head. Candle closures, it's like, what the fuck's a candle for one? Candle closures must be bullshit because we all live in different time zones. It's like, hey, man. They're all standardized towards a certain time. That's why the daily close for me in Finland is about at 2 or 3 a.m. The daily close for people in England is literally midnight, and the daily close for people in Eastern Time is going to be 7 p.m. Time is standardized. It's like it's in the name too. It's like Eastern Standard Time. But sorry, I don't mean to like shit on anyone. It's fucking funny. Like, people don't think about that. It's like, what? No, it has to be 7 everywhere. It's like, I live in fucking Finland. Why would I put it in Eastern Standard Time if that's going to be the case? Jesus Christ. Oh, dear Lord. Oh my God, man. All right. Well, that's enough of that for today. Let's go check out Caretaker's ranges. What is Caretaker saying on his range? 38.5 to the upside versus 33.5 to the downside. What does it say on an hourly? It's really contracting here, though. So this would not be something that I put a lot of weight on the 4 hour, 3 hours, or sorry, hourly showing 35,000 to the downside versus basically 38 to the upside. Does give a slight bias towards the upside here too. But again, it's just ranging really. We're not going to get this is not going to be helpful right here, mostly because we do see that volatility is extremely low right now. And if volatility is extremely low, then these ranges are naturally going to be a lot more compressed. And if they're a lot more compressed, then what are we looking for based off of that? We're looking for an expansion. It's just more likely to happen if it's likely to expand based off that. Well, obviously using these rings to kind of drive targets, that's going to naturally expand as well. So it's likely to be a lot higher and a lot lower than those levels. I'll still kind of stick with what I've been saying about 34 and 30 and about 39 to $40,000 to the upside. What else do we want to check out? Traditional markets, I imagine we don't have anything new to look at there. Probably just sideways over the night. Oh, what do you know? Sideways over the night, bouncing off the 21 exponential moving average once again. Now, I do have to say something about this, though. I am going to be wrong about looking for a downside move to 12,650 on NASDAQ. Getting that bounce off the 21 on the daily is a clear signal that we're going to pop back up towards $13,000 likely plus over the next couple days. Yet again, another higher low. Do we have hidden bullish divergence in progress? We do. 1, 2, 3 stabs as well. Looks very, very good there. So I'd be having a $13,000 first target and probably $13,100 for a second target. Obviously, that can coincide with today's daily total closure anywhere above 12,900, which it's very much above right now. And yes, we will see daily momentum oscillators turn back up on expanding volatility. That would all be good for continuing the march up to new all-time highs with the targets in mind that we've laid out over here at 13,150, still the next one, and then above there 13,450 we'll call it. After that, SPY futures, I imagine, is going to be more or less the same, and yes, it is. So I was wrong, or actually, I don't think I was looking for the same thing on SPY yesterday. On NASDAQ, I was looking for a little bit of a stab lower. No, I probably was looking towards 3750. Well, we did get 3750, so that's fair enough. Same reads here, though. I imagine we have the same momentum oscillator reads here as well. 1, 2, 3 stabs on hidden bullish divergence. Daily Stokes are going to have a chance to cross back onto the upside today again as well, with any sort of a closure above about 3,800. And then yes, I'd be having a first target of 3,825, and then extension towards. I mean, your real target is going to be 38.75 and a quarter, in line with the 2-spot 414 over here. So fair enough. Still remaining upside on gold on those. And this is your next higher low right here. So as long as that is protected, I have to be bullish on the daily. Same thing for NASDAQ over here, but that same number would be 12,775. Let's start to wrap this bitch up though, because I think we're getting a little bit. Or actually, let's talk about DOPTC. I think now would actually be a good time to be looking at some of these Bitcoin parents. These DeFi coins though, they seem to be on a bit of a different schedule here. We did get the pull. Well, we spoke about this on Twitch yesterday. We did get the pullback back down to about 40,000 Satoshi low. I would be looking for a little bit of sideways here, and then probably does try a little bit of upside after that. Yeah, it could have another strike back down to like 41.5. Yes, very possible, but I'd be looking at that again as a bouncy bounce area. The volume tells a story right here as it increases on this actual breakout. Pretty damn good, actually. Theta, sideways. Why do I still have this one on my list? I guess it is one of the better charts, to be fair. I mean, this does look different than most things. Sideways and up is the name of the game right there. What about Link USD? Ooh, finally getting a bit of a pullback, but did we hit our $24.5 target? I mean, this one's just still melting up right here. Daily RSI tells the story, still good. Daily Jewel still in a bullish posturing. Weekly is a clear breakout. I'd still be looking for $28 plus, 28 to $30 plus over time. Looks pretty damn good. What about UniBTC? Ooh, do we have a new high here? Maybe we do. 24,257. 24. Yes, we do. Yeah, so have to be bullish on this one as well. Probably for the next few weeks, 30,000 plus Satoshis and maybe even beyond. What else do we have? Ooh, finally, Eurodollar. Go down, you little shit fucker. Thank the Lord, man. Thank the fucking Lord. All right, time to switch all my money back. No, just kidding. What about Link BTC? Okay, very interesting right here. Is this a major opportunity, or is this just a lower high? This could actually print significant hidden bearish divergence. This is going to be a one to watch. If you do see it close anywhere below 55,500 Satoshis, problems, and I'd be looking for a full retrace on this rally thus far, back down below 40,000 Satoshis. But as long as that area does hold, do have to be bullish on it as it is. Then again, there are some problems in the lower term timeframes. You know what? I think I'm going to hold off on saying anything more on altcoins. That's just not my game, man. That's just not my game. There's better people to go for altcoins. You know, if you want to learn about altcoins, I would reference Elio Trades, ELIO Trades. Great guy, good friends with him, and more importantly, that's his game. He knows that market. He knows that market well. He's all in the DeFi, and somehow he's just pulling out fucking 10x plus coins from his asshole, making me jealous for not getting in the shitcoin game. But you know, again, that's just not my game, really. All right, let's go back on over here. We didn't really talk about what happens on breakdown or breakouts, but I'm really looking for any of that to happen today, to be honest with you. Still 4-hour closure below about $31,000. That would be problematic, driving targets back down to 23 to 24,000 bucks over here. By the same token, 4-hour closure above 39,000, or let's just call it 40,000 bucks right here, very likely does get that next continuation move towards 44,000 bucks. Technically speaking, your prior high is about 41,000 overall, so maybe a short-term pullback right there, but ultimately just getting back above this level right here, it's continuation of trend as it is. If I had to call things right now, I do think that Bitcoin probably does give another try somewhere around 35,000 bucks. I do think that will bounce from there. Actually, I should just wrap this up in the more obvious sense of this. Do we have anything to speak about over here? No, not really, actually. Yeah, not really. Yeah, not really at all, actually. We can just go back to the charts over here. Maybe we should talk about Mr. Beautiful instead. Yeah, I think we'll do that today. Change things up a bit, huh? How about that? All right, let's wrap this bitch up. Butyrol, no, this is going to come off the tongue wrong. Let's wrap this bitch up. Bitcoin, no, Butyrol actually closed above the topside trailing band on the weekly, and it's kind of the star of the show right now, representing the whole of the altcoin market in general, of course. Now, there's going to be some altcoins doing a little bit better, some altcoins doing a little bit worse, but this one generally gets the feeling of the altcoin market, and it looks to me like this one, like the breakout actually is in progress sometime this week. And what we generally want to see on Mr. Butyrol to confirm the next leg of this breakout would be a daily close on new highs, which would be anywhere above 12,000, or not 12,000, but 1,200. 280 right here. If that were to happen, I would look for a continuation of trend up to the next major levels right here at about 1450 at the one spot 272 for a little bit of a short-term pullback. That would also be based off of the daily trend band as well, which is showing the top side currently speaking right around that same level. So I do like the confluence right there. And overall, this is just a nice healthy uptrend, as you can see, with reaccumulation implied on higher lows and looking pretty damn good. On top of that, if we do see any sort of a closure today above 1250, then we would also see daily momentum also turn back up as well. And I do believe this is further continuation of the hidden bullish divergence that we identified just a few days ago on the 12th of January, still playing out as it gets back above the exponential in the bullish control zone. All these things working well with each other, and it does make me more or less bullish on this. Of course, Ethereum, Bitcoin over here looking pretty damn good as well, hitting our next target that I think we laid out from yesterday based off of the weekly close. Now, I actually would extend this over time, although I do believe it probably does pull back a little bit from that region, but over time, this is actually entering into an uptrend once again, and next major targets are going to be, above 4 million Satoshis over time, over the next couple of weeks, but looking pretty damn good. And again, is this time to be maybe keeping an eye on altcoins on the whole? Likely yes. Anyways, do we want to talk about Bitcoin? Yeah, we can briefly talk about Bitcoin, but Bitcoin is a little bit more boring in comparison, as it is more or less sideways right here. Obviously, Bitcoin led the party to begin with, setting the tone. Now you're seeing, the rotational markets in effect. And as long as Bitcoin is sideways, it does look like we will get those rotations, meaning that as long as Bitcoin isn't breaking out above the range high or the range low, in this case, that would be about 40,000 to the upside versus about 31,000 to the downside, depending upon what time frame that you're looking at, then altcoins are going to be a bit more of the star of the show as they get a chance to rally. And when Bitcoin does break out a breakdown, in this case I am still leaning to the upside, then, well, I'd imagine that we're going to see major pullbacks in altcoins once again, but those likely do turn into higher lows. Again, granted the rotational narrative of this market right now. As it stands for Mr. Bitcoin, all lower term timeframes are kind of discombobulated from each other, especially on CMEs right here. We do see that 4-hour Stokes are popping up right now, 3-hour Stokes popping up as well. Bi-hourly Stokes are technically up, but will cross the downside. No, they're okay right now. 36,300 is the magical number, and then hourly's pointed down at the current moment, as long as we're below 37,000 bucks. So what does that kind of align with when we do see bifurcation between the lower term timeframes? Likely just plays out the same range, same shit that we had over the last couple days, between about 37,000 bucks and $34,000 low right here. If I did have to call it, and you put a gun to my head, I do think that Bitcoin likely does put in another try towards the downside of the range. Again, whether it's 33 or 34,000 bucks, I really don't have a strong proclivity towards either one of those. I'm just looking for a slight move down within the context of the short-term range, and likely does get picked up from there. This is still shaping up to be reaccumulation. The daily is still very much healthy. As long as we're closing on as long as we're closing on higher lows above 34,000 bucks on the daily, looks good to me. Or the 4-hour above 31,000 bucks is kind of that downside pivot for a greater move. But as it is right now, what I really want to see for Bitcoin is I want to see a higher low being confirmed right here, which would happen with any sort of a closure above 36,700 today. If that happens, we will see hidden bullish divergence have 1, 2, 3 stabs coming off of this whole drive over here, which would look pretty damn good, and targets would be initiated towards 40,000 bucks. By contrast, with a closure below 34,000 bucks right here, I would at the very least look for an extension or at least another test towards 30,000 bucks. Likely a bounce there, and then can we talk about targets lower towards the $23,000 to $24,000 level? Potentially yes, but for right now, I'm really just looking for sideways here, and for it to likely get picked up within the context of the greater range. Daily Stokes are technically crossed the downside right now. Remember, following the same trend line going all the way back from late September to early December, and now once again over here in middle of January. And now all of these coming on significantly higher lows within the context of these reaccumulation phases right here at about 10,250, right here at about 18,000, and once again right here. So I do like this read overall, and if this is going to play out for one more test, then this would align with this, this consolidation being yet again another healthy consolidation before another try to the upside. But still got to give it a little bit of time, and that will cross the upside with any sort of a closure today above 39,225. So keep that number in mind. If that condition is met, that would be another obvious signal that Bitcoin is going to break out to the upside like this week. But for now, I think Budo is kind of the star of the show. And with that said, I do want to wish you the best, and the happiest. Take care, and until next time.